Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Talking Games with Kellie and Andrew. I'm Andrew.
And I am Kellie.
Happy Halloween.
Ooh.
I kind of forgot.
Me too. It feels like when you're an adult, Halloween happens the weekend before Halloween. And since Halloween lands on a Tuesday this year, it feels like Halloween's already over because the weekend has already passed.
Yeah.
Andrew, what were you for Halloween? What are you for Halloween since it's Halloween?
Oh, right now.
As we speak.
I was a straight frat boy.
Wow.
You knew that. And you made me...
I'm asking for the audience's sake.
Right. I feel like the audience is going to judge me now.
Why would they judge you?
Because that's a terrible costume.
No, it's not. It's just, you were just committed to the bit. You had a vision and you executed it.
Yeah, I went to
with
Target
fervor.
And I bought a plain baseball cap that I was allowed to wear backwards because I did not own one before.
And that's hard work. And people may not realize it, but you did put thought into it.
Kellie, what were you for Halloween?
I was Mothman. So I got a little like black dress thing. And then I got these big bug eye sunglasses that are red and made it hard to see all night. And I got the little moth antenna, like feather thingies. And then I had like a cape that was supposed to be the moth wings. Yeah, it was funny. I was like, I've never seen a Mothman before in my life. Like, I think this is kind of a rare costume. Whatever. We go to a bar that night. Saturday night, and it's like they're having this big thing. They're having like a concert and a drag show, and lo and behold, who else do I see there but another Mothman? and they had like a little veil over there, so they kind of had something similar, but they had two little like red LED lights, and then they put a veil like on top, so their Mothman was a little bit spookier.
Oh,
mine was a little bit like more cutie.
I feel like that's how it goes. You think you have like the most clever costume, and that's when you bump into somebody who has the exact same costume.
Yeah, but it was fun. We had a little Mothman moment, and
that's really
who
fun.
Actually cares? You know what I mean? Like, it's Halloween, everybody's having fun anyway. So,
well, I was at I don't know what year it was. Probably 2017. No, 18. No, 19. When did Queer Eye come out?
2017.
I think it was 2018. I went out as Anthony from Queer Eye, Anthony Porosky. And it was a pretty plain costume. I just wore stuff that he would wear, and I bought 2 avocados and walked around with them. And I thought that was a pretty specific costume, right? Like you wouldn't think you're going to bump into another Anthony.
Yeah.
But my story is very similar to yours. I walk in, and there's another Anthony there. And that's an interesting one because it's not like there's like one costume. It's not like we're both Dracula and it's like, oh, we're in the Dracula. No, it was like both just 2 well-dressed young brunette men. But he was mean to me. He was not happy that we're both Anthony.
Oh.
And he had like a little neckerchief.
Right, an ascot.
Yeah, which Anthony wore once. And he was like, well, you don't have that. So is it even a real Anthony costume? And I'm like, he wore it once. Well, like, how did you
known for that?
Yeah, I feel like the only reason I chose the avocados is because it's like, haha, people like to make fun of him and avocados.
Yeah.
But my story's different.
Lame.
We did not take pictures together. He was mean to me, and then him and the people he was with like avoided me all night. And I was like, this is weird. We're both Anthony. We should be like as one.
Yeah.
But we were not. It didn't go well.
Yeah. Well, you know what I'm going to be for Halloween next year?
What?
The Microsoft Activision debacle of 2023/2022. Now that it has finally been settled and done, Microsoft has officially finalized the deal, purchasing Activision.
Okay, stop. So what when you say that's what you're going to be for Halloween?
Mm-hmm.
What does that entail? What are you going to wear? Like, what are you going to look
It's
like?
going to be like a big dust cloud. Like, you know how in cartoon fights when they're like,
Yeah.
bah, 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 and you can't see anything. It's going to be that. And then it's going to be like the Federal Trade Commission, not logo, but, you know, their like crest or whatever. And then a little Microsoft logo and some like, you know,
Master Chief's
effects.
Hands popping out and
Yeah.
Crash Bandicoot there.
Yeah, it's going to be a very sensory costume. It's going to require a lot of suspension of disbelief.
This sounds extremely expensive and complicated.
Well, much like the Activision Microsoft deal, extremely expensive and complicated.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you off mid-story, but I just
That's
needed to know.
okay. I'm glad you're very curious about my future Halloween endeavors. This also means that Bobby Robert Kotick will be the CEO still until the end of this year.
Woo! Get out of here.
So
I'm not wooing that he's still CEO. I'm wooing that he'll be gone in 2 months' time.
yeah, the end of this year is, as Andrew said, literally in 2 months. So
yeah, I mean we'll
pretty
be
wild.
recording our end of year specials in like just over a month, which is I don't want to do game of the year yet. Are you kidding me? That's scary.
I know.
Did you watch the trailer that they released for this? And they called it a trailer?
No.
I think when the press release I linked you had the thing at the top. It made me like upset to like I don't know. They were like showing a trailer for things that just already exist, and it was just like corporate merging. Like it's just a trailer for like Monopoly, like the thing, not the game.
Right.
And I'm like, this
They
is
just want to make you feel hyped about something that kind of has already been happening anyway.
and it really made me wonder, like it made me realize very thoroughly as they showed all these things, like how few of them they made. How few things Microsoft actually made, you know? Because this trailer has like Halo and Forza, but like it also has like Psychonauts and Call of Duty and Starfield and a ton of other things that I'm like, you bought that. You didn't make.
Yeah.
I mean, you bought the company and then published it, but like, you didn't make that.
Yeah.
Which
I mean, what's the last game that Microsoft made?
Halo Infinite, right? I mean, obviously, technically Starfield, but before that, like an actual first party, always Microsoft thing is Halo.
I just don't think that sort of game will exist anymore.
Yeah, I mean, the next Halo will probably... Forza's the one where it's like... Forza and Microsoft Flight Simulator are like the shoo-ins. But everything else, yeah, it's studios that they bought.
Yeah.
Which is just kind of odd.
Yeah.
It's fine. I feel like we were all prepared for this. It's been so long.
Yeah, I mean, they've been talking about it like it's already happening for like a year now, so...
Yeah. The only thing for me was like I assumed that right after this we'd see like a swath of Activision games be smacked up on Game Pass, but they said nope, not this year, which again, next year is in 2 months. So it's not that far off, but like I kind of expected like a wave of tons of Activision stuff being put on here. But
yeah, I'm kind of surprised because I agree. I feel like you would think that they would start throwing games up on Game Pass. They put Overwatch 2 on Steam like a month ago.
yeah.
It's not up on Game Pass. I mean, it's free to play anyway, but
I'm sure they'll add like some perks. Although
maybe
they did
some,
say
like, tier battle pass tier jumps or something.
they did say, this is like a side story, that there's going to be complete feature parity, Parity, not parody. All the features across platforms will be identical for Call of Duty. So like the exclusive content that PlayStation has been getting for years is no longer going to happen. It's going to be the same across all, which I mean, it's better than Microsoft being like, we're going to get the exclusive stuff now. I guess that's better than nothing, but I mean, give it like 10 years and I think this will turn into a very exclusive deal, you know, once that 10-year deal expires with PlayStation and Nintendo. I also feel like this locks in the Nintendo console even more so, because like if that 10-year deal really does start next year for Call of Duty games coming to Nintendo, they need a new Nintendo console, so because there's no way that's coming to current Switch.
Well, if they can do it with Mortal Kombat.
I would say they didn't do it with Mortal Kombat. I would say they failed miserably at trying that.
Yeah.
To get the bad news out of the way real quick, it feels like all we talk about here is layoffs anymore. More layoffs. This one upsets me in a different kind of way. Bungie, which it's weird seeing a subtitle or a title for an article say Sony's Bungie, because I'm like, oh yeah, I forget all the time that Sony owns that now. But they're laying off an undisclosed number of employees, as well as reportedly postponing the release of the Destiny 2 final expansion. I should say the Destiny 2 expansion, the final shape. I don't know if is that the final one?
I don't know. I don't play Destiny. I don't know anything about it. I'm a bad video game.
No, you don't have to play Destiny to be a good gamer. But I did
play Destiny back in the day.
Back when it was cool. Actually, it was kind of uncool then. I was gonna say that's kind of when it was like, what's wrong with you?
I never paid for it. It came on the pre-owned PlayStation 4 that I bought. So
you kept games that were digital on that? That's unhinged.
Of course I did.
That's unhinged. Anyway, it got pushed from February to June, and then Marathon, which I also forgot existed. That was one of the things they revealed during that showcase, is getting pushed to 2025. I just get upset because they bought Bungie last year, and now they are pushing, or they're laying people off. And I'm like, did you not plan for like the overhead? Did you not plan for a little bit of profit loss that you have to lay people off now? And obviously I'm a little extra sensitive to layoff news because I am laid off. So it's like, I'm maybe not the best source, but like this just sucks. They just bought them. I mean,
yeah,
almost
dumb.
2 years ago now. That was early 2022, and it's almost 2024. But that's 2 years. Like they should have been prepared for years of difficulty transitioning and not had to lay people off.
Yeah. There was no really reasonable way to swing this other than obviously it's a money thing, but
it's bad.
Yeah.
But
not great.
That's the layoff news of the week. Hopefully next week we have a break from telling you about that.
Yeah, I hope so. There is some news about that Fallout TV show, remember?
I forgot, but now I remember.
According to the Fallout Prime account on Twitter, it's coming out April 2024. So this upcoming April.
Yeah.
Now, we've really seen hide nor hair of this show, which I think is interesting. I guess the marketing push begins now. I mean, we have seen like people going by the set and like taking unauthorized pictures, but we haven't seen anything in an official capacity. We saw some like concept art, I think, a while back, but it was literally like, it was like Fallout concept art. Like it was like, oh yeah, that's a vault. Like, I don't know. But yeah, it's coming out April 12th, 2024. So,
do you want to hear something funny about it? Somebody responded to the tweet and said, "Is this the 4th of December or the 12th of April?" Because, you know, dates don't get read the same way depending on what country you are. And the Fallout Prime Twitter account responded, "Congratulations. You'll be able to watch Fallout on April 12th." And I'm like,
very
presumptuous.
Very like confident.
Yeah. Congrats.
Congrats, you will get to watch it.
I thought that was funny. I'm not excited. I'm not unexcited, but this is one of those things where like, unless it's a Netflix animated television show, I'm not confident in any adaptation of video games at the moment. So
Yeah. I mean, I'm not, I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to like be excited for something that we really haven't seen anything about. And whenever you hear news of this stuff, it's like, it's so abstract until you actually watch it. Like that's how I felt about the Last of Us series. It was like so abstract until like the moment that I started watching it. And I was like, oh, this is real.
it has Rico from Hannah Montana in it.
Yeah. And what's his name?
Walton Goggins.
Yes.
I love him.
Yes. That's who I was thinking of.
I don't know don't remember his name until I see it, and every time I see it, it makes me excited because it's Walton Goggins. And Kyle MacLachlan.
Yeah, that's interesting to me. I like him. That's Special Agent Dale Cooper.
Yeah, and the rest I
from
don't
Twin
know.
Peaks.
Oh, I know Michael Emerson. What was he in? Stuff.
I don't know. You're asking the wrong girl. Did we see a teaser for this?
No. This is technically the teaser, and it is just a date.
When did I see Walt? Okay. Maybe it was like a leak or something. I can't remember.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, we haven't seen anything. There's a fake video of Walton Goggins looking like a ghoul.
That's probably what I saw.
Yeah, it's a really convincing picture, but it's fan-made.
Well, I kind of feel like we'll just have to wait and see. I feel like Prime is like, I don't know.
I forget they make shows.
I think there's not a consistency of quality among Amazon Prime shows. Some of them are really good, and then some of them are really terrible. So, and I think typically the bigger a project tends to get, the worse it is. Like the Lord of the Rings show was super expensive and it wasn't great, but you've got shows like Fleabag that are like incredible.
Isn't their whole thing, besides Lord of the Rings, isn't their whole thing basically just like buying shows that are done? And then like Fleabag's an exception in the sense that like they bought season 1 and then they produced season 2, but like they just buy things as far as I can tell. So it's not real.
The Prime is very much like throw it at the wall, see what sticks.
Yeah, but I think
they just have
they made the Fallout one.
Yeah, so we'll see.
I not that long. I mean, April's 6 months away, which is weird.
Yeah.
But, Kelly?
Yes?
I played some video games. I should probably start with the not Halloween ones, right?
Yeah. Let's save the spookiness for the end.
The spookiness for the end. I finished Spider-Man 2, 100% platinumed it. I don't have much different to say from last week. I maintain how confused I was by the marketing, because most of the big story beats that were kind of teased in the trailers and stuff happened at the very end of the game. So that was very confusing, and I'm confused by that decision. But the end of the game did do very well. Apologies for the guest star. And it really maintained what? Huh?
We have a guest star on the podcast right now.
Oh, sorry. Should I let him talk?
Yes.
Did you like Spider-Man?
That sounded like a no to me.
I was going to say that did sound like no.
No.
Anyway, I did enjoy it. It was easy to platinum. It only took me about 24 hours to do literally everything, like 100% completion. So I prefer that. I like games that are a little short. If you play just the story, I bet you could have this game done in like 12 hours, which is like still kind of long, but for a modern open world game, that's pleasantly short. But if you like Spider-Man 2018, you're going to like this. I would also say if you played the 2018 one, but not Miles Morales, at least watch a story summary of Miles Morales. Like it requires knowledge of the past games. And I'm assuming that Spider-Man 3 can't be that far off. I mean, probably like three or 4 years, but it's coming for sure. I'm excited for more, but I'm glad I played it. Everything was good. I'm not going to expand because I talked a lot about it last week. I played another game. It has 2 titles because the title appears to be changing consistently. I believe currently on the Switch eShop, it's listed as Suika game, which is Japanese, which is it's spelled Suika. It's Japanese for watermelon game. Once you have it downloaded, at least currently, it says watermelon game on your home screen, but when I started the game, it said Suika game inside the game. I don't know exactly what the title of this game is. I just know it's Watermelon Game or Suika Game, and that currently it is available for $3 on the Switch eShop. Not on sale, that's just the price. Very cheap. It is a physics-based matching puzzle game. So you match fruit. So you match 2 cherries, and then they grow and become a strawberry. You match 2 strawberries, they grow and become a grape. You match 2 oranges, they become an apple. You match 2 melons, they become a watermelon. I skipped quite a few there, but the whole goal of the game is to get a watermelon. It's the biggest fruit. It's very exciting when you finally get there. It is not easy. It takes a surprising amount of strategy, and because of the physics nature of it, there's also a fair amount of luck, and you only know 1 fruit ahead what you're going to get. I got like extremely hooked on this game when I started it. So I was on Saturday night, I was spending time with some people. I had some beverages. I don't regularly do that, but I had some beverages. And then at the end of the night, I was by myself. It was the end of the night, and I was like, "Ooh, maybe I'll have one more beverage," which is never the correct decision to make, because stop when you were done. So I decide, you know what? Instead, I'm gonna buy Suika game. Instead of having one more high noon beverage, I'm gonna play with some watermelons. And then I stayed up till like 2:30 in the morning, just playing this game, and it was the correct decision by a long shot. It's so fun. It's adorable. They have all the fruits have little faces. It does get frustrating when you're very close. I have the one attempt, the 2 melons were like darn near kissing each other, but they just would not touch. And my top was completely full. So if I dropped one more fruit, game over. And I was just like, maybe I'll just leave it here and see if like physics takes over at some point and they just move. But nope, I was just victory was within my clasp and I failed.
Oh.
But yesterday I finally, after about 4 or 5 hours of attempts, got the watermelon. And because I'm a very game completion oriented person, was like, oh, I beat the game. And I logged it in my like beat game list, even though it just keeps going. Like it's just a score chaser game. But I know it's silly, and it is functionally a mobile game just on Switch. But y'all, you gotta check this out. You gotta check this out. It's only $3, and it is so cute and fun. The only like legitimate downside is sometimes, twice in my playthroughs, the physics got wonky and like launched a fruit into the air, and then the game was like, oh, you have fruit outside the basket, you lose. And I was like, what? That happened the one time. It was early in a run, but the other one I was like going to win. Like 2 melons were falling towards each other, and then a fruit just flung into the air, and I lost. And I was like, oh no. And that's when I went to bed at 2:30 in the morning. But I really had a wonderful time. It was such a pleasant little time. I think it is Halloween themed right now, but I don't know because it is so
Spooky
unclear.
Fruit?
Yeah, you go for a jack-o'-lantern instead of going for a watermelon at the moment.
Oh.
But very good, very pleasant. The music loop is very short, so feel free to pop on your favorite video games podcast while you play, or maybe some music. You can listen to some. No, just
you should
us.
be listening to your favorite video game podcast when you play.
Okay. I mean, I feel like that's, if they are listening to this episode right now, there's not a ton of time left in the runtime. So are they just going to go back and listen to old episodes while they play?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Get caught up on the backlog.
Yeah, go to episode 73. That one slapped. I love episode 73. And listen to that one. I don't know what episode 73 was. Don't squint your eyes at me. I don't even know what year episode 73 happened in.
I'm sure that was
2022, right?
Yeah.
I'll confirm while we're talking, because now I'm deeply curious what we talked about on episode 73. Episode 73 was Game of the Year 2022.
Wow, so you were right.
That's kind of a good one. That one does slap, actually.
Hey, Andrew, every episode slaps.
I know, but like sometimes the thumbnails make me like, ooh, good job. It's just pretty. Anyway, go play Suika game or Watermelon game. If you just go to the Switch eShop and go to like popular, it's number 1 right now. Everybody's loving it. It's not just me. But it's Halloween, which means I have to frighten myself. I played a... I
get you?
Yeah, I don't think I can recover from that.
Sorry.
It's okay. I'll recover. I played 2 games that were Halloween themed because I figured I needed to play something Halloween themed, and Alan Wake 2 is expensive. I played Have a Nice Death, which we've talked about on the show before, but neither of us actually have played it. It is a side-scrolling roguelite, technically, where you play as Death. He used to be real good at his job. He'd kill lots of people, take their souls back to the underworld, but one day he was tired. So he decided to establish bureaucracy and start allocating his work to other people. But then he just became in charge of paperwork and gradually grew smaller in stature as he lost his muscle mass, even though he's a little bone guy. That's why he's so little and adorable, because he used to be big and strong, but he gave up his job to do paperwork instead. But now he's so overwhelmed with paperwork and management that he's just sick of it. All of his little cronies, they've taken over and they're controlling his company, so he's going to get them. So that's your thing, is going across the company to tell the people, all those middle managers, to heck off. This game is anti-corporate structure, and I really like it. It has a lot of Hades DNA in it. The functionality of like going from floor to floor. When you get on the elevator, it asks you what floor you want to do next, so you can pick what benefit you'll get at the end. So it's like, oh, if you pick this one, you're going to get an HP upgrade. If you pick this one, you're going to get like a new weapon. That is the thing I like the most about this, I think, compared to something like Hades, is that you have your scythe, which is always going to be the same, at least once you start, or at least at the start of the game. Later, you'll be able to change your base weapon. But throughout your run, if you're playing on Switch, the X and A buttons both have different attacks that you will unlock by finding different attacks in the world. So you'll have different attacks every run, not just different buffs. You'll have straight up different attacks run to run, which makes them a lot more interesting. I have not finished this game. It is a lot easier than something like Hades. I did get to the boss of the 3rd floor, and I believe there are 4 floors and then a final boss. So I made it halfway through. But just like any other roguelite, start over at the beginning. So it's going to take me probably a good few attempts to get there, but I'm really enjoying it. The visual style is a little simple. It's very monochrome, which is kind of the style they're going for, but that does mean that like the different levels don't differentiate themselves a ton from each other. And also the Switch version is maybe not the best thing. The performance is like a little iffy at times. Like there've been a few frame drops that are annoying. But the other thing is like there's like little portraits of like items and characters and stuff in your menus, and they are like pixelated beyond belief, like 240p, like truly blurry. And I'm quite confused. Usually they handle it pretty well. Like some of the enemies are lower resolution, but they kind of blend nicely. But then sometimes it's just like ridiculously lower quality. So be prepared for that. If you have PC, that's going to be the better way to play it. But I don't, so I played it on Switch because that's the only other option at the moment. I assume this game will probably come to other platforms eventually. So if you want to hold out, maybe wait for Xbox or PlayStation, or you could be cool like Kelly and have a PC. What was it? What?
I said tee-hee.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't understand it. There's an ambulance outside, and that's all I could hear. I couldn't hear your tee-hee.
Well, I was tee-hee.
I played another spooky game, Kelly.
Were you scared?
Actually, like a little bit.
Oh.
This
Tell
game's
me about it.
Signalis. It came out last October, which frightened me because I swore this game came out like 3 or 4 months ago, but it came out a year ago. It is a Resident Evil, like classic Resident Evil inspired sort of game. It is a isometric, fixed camera angle adventure game. Lots of locked doors, lots of keys to find, lots of different items that'll help you get through puzzles. The visual style is really unique. It is a 3D game, but they have the resolution deliberately very low, and it looks like pixel art almost. Sometimes it's very obvious you're looking at character models, but they're like old PlayStation 1 polygonal kind of models, and it's really unique, and I think that they did a great job of executing on it. The color palette is really brown and red. It's a deeply unpleasant game in a lot of ways. The sound design is really droning and uncomfortable. It is a spooky game, if that wasn't implied, based on the fact that we're talking about it for Halloween. But I'm really enjoying what I've played so far. The combat kind of sucks in a way where I'm like, this is on purpose. Like, I don't want to do this. They want me to hate this. So, like, I've been trying my best to avoid the enemies that make horrible sounds. And like I said, I haven't been scared. Like, there's no jump scares or anything. But, like, it is dreadful. Like, it doesn't feel good to play on purpose. And I'm really enjoying what I've played so far. I'm a good chunk into it now. I don't think I'm near the end, but I am planning to play through more. I thought maybe I'd just give it a little shot for the Halloween episode and then leave it be, but I do think I want to play more. It's on Game Pass, so if you don't want to pay for it, it is on there. I believe it's on PC as well, PC Game Pass. But
I can look right now.
Kelly's going to confirm. I really have enjoyed it, though. It's just a very well-designed game, and the progression is just as satisfying as a lot of Resident Evil games have been in the past. So
it is on Game Pass on PC.
Well, there you go. If you want to play it, I mean, it's on everything. It's on Switch, it's on PlayStation, it's on PC, but it's on Game Pass for Xbox and PC if you don't want to pay for it. I believe it's cheap. I want to say it's like $25 normally, so it's not an expensive game if that's something you're interested in. I saw it was on sale on Switch too right now for Halloween. So
Halloween.
If that sounds like something you're interested in, it has a little bit of anime style, so it's not all dour. The main character is kind of anime, and some of the side characters are anime, so it's still pleasant if you're a weeb. Highly recommend it, though. I've been enjoying it a lot. I'll probably talk more about it next week when I maybe finished it. I don't know. I started a lot of games, and I'm still working on Mario Wonder. So right now I have Mario Wonder, Have a Nice Death, Signalis, and I was going to play Before Your Eyes because I found out that game's on Netflix because last week we were talking about games being on Netflix, and I was like, what else is on Netflix? So, have you played Before Your Eyes?
No, I have not.
Oh, I'm curious because the whole gimmick is like, it can see your eyes, so when you blink, it's like time's up, moving forward.
Oh. So
I was like, it wouldn't work on console. You need a webcam. But
scary.
On mobile, that kind of makes sense. Well, it's not a spooky game. It's like a very, apparently, I have not played it. I'll probably talk about it next week if I played it. Apparently, it's a very emotional game. Like, it's about like the progression of life and how you can't slow life down.
What if I have dry eyes and I have to blink a lot?
I think there's certain scenes that are locked until a certain point. So it's not like you keep missing scenes because you have to blink so much.
Actually, I'm pretty good at keeping my eyes open.
Oh, well, there you go. I guess you should play it.
Yeah. Should I play it?
I don't know. I haven't played it. I'll play it next week. I think it's only like an hour long, but it's on Netflix. You don't have to pay for it.
Maybe I'll check it out.
Can you blink, please?
No.
You're scarier than Signalis.
I was like, I'm good at not blinking.
Yeah. You know what you're scarier than?
What?
Five Nights at Freddy's.
I am. You know, the key to not blinking a lot is to just lower your eyes, but not fully close them.
Yeah. You know, the key to not blinking is watching a movie as incredibly engaging that you cannot close your eyes.
Oh.
That's as Five Nights at Freddy's.
That those are your thoughts on the movie.
Should we just preface?
Sure. So we're going to spoil the whole movie. So if you haven't seen Five Nights at Freddy's and you don't want to be spoiled, it was really great talking to you guys this week. We'll see you next week. But if you don't care about spoilers, or if you have seen the movie, stick around. We're going to give our thoughts.
It's a bad movie, in our opinion.
Oh.
Or in my opinion. I don't recommend watching it. So if you are... It doesn't matter. It's also a hard movie to spoil.
We could give some reasons why we thought it was bad.
That are spoiler free, you mean?
No.
Oh,
that are full of spoilers.
I was going to say...
I'll give you some reasons. Here's some spoiler-free reasons why I thought the movie wasn't great. It doesn't work if you're not like a fan of the series because it is not scary and it's not funny. And any camp that it tries to achieve, it doesn't really work.
No.
The main character believes that he is... I love Josh Hutcherson. The direction they gave him was in a different universe than the direction they gave everyone else in this movie. He played it as like the most serious role that he's ever been given. And then you've got the child actors who I don't want to judge child actors too harshly because they're children. But sometimes they're just not good actors. And that is what it is because they're kids. It's just what happens. And then you've got another actor, the female side character who I don't know what was going on with her, with the way they wrote her, with the direction. Probably one of the oddest characters in this movie, including animatronics, killer animatronics. Like, she was the odd one out in a movie where there's like a walking giant
Vanessa.
Bear monster.
Her name was Vanessa. I realized I had no idea what the cop character's name was. And
then, to me, I like Matthew Lillard. I think he's a great actor. They gave him not so much to do. And also, I think he's better than this movie. I'm sorry. I think he was acting in a way that was beyond this movie.
I was going to say he was the best part, I think.
Yeah. I don't think the movie was good. I think that the cinematography was okay. I actually would say it was a bit of a standout. But I don't think the direction was good. I don't think the writing was good. I don't think the sound design was good.
They didn't, you know, the bit that you made last week where you said dun 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 dun.
Yeah, they didn't incorporate the sort of famous Five Nights at Freddy's minutia, which is crazy because this movie was made, you can tell it was made for the people who played this game and who enjoy the lore and who watch those 5-hour videos on YouTube about theories. You can tell it was made for them because there's like 16 million YouTuber cameos, which is fine. I don't care. If the people who love this game in this series love this movie, I'm very happy for them because I have been in situations where something is bad, but I love it because I am part of the group. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just speaking as someone who's sort of an outside observer. I also feel like there was a lot of repetition in the movie that just didn't work for me. I think the repetition in the game works because you're playing the game. You go in, you get the phone call, you do the cameras, you try to survive the night. It's very straightforward in the first game, at least. Which I don't know if the movie was trying to emulate that. The movie kind of takes the lore and just sort of chews it up and spits it out. So I'm not 100% sure, but I just feel like there were certain scenes that we just kept seeing again and again and again, and it was boring me. And that is the worst thing a movie can be, in my opinion, is boring. A movie can be bad, a movie can be campy, a movie can be whatever, but it cannot be boring, especially Five Nights at Freddy's.
It's ironic because you said campy, and we saw that camp scene a lot.
And it was like, I don't feel like the main character... There were just elements of the story that were stupid to me. And I'm starting to get spoilery here. So if you really don't want to be spoiled, I would leave. Here's what didn't work for me. We have the main character, right? His little baby brother was abducted as a child when they were all little. Okay? Back in the 80s. And you're like, okay, he probably got abducted by whoever's abducting all the other kids and turning them into big animatronics. Whatever. You, as the viewer, probably make that connection. Now, in the movie, the main character has a little sister. The parents are brushed off. It's like, well, mom couldn't handle it.
Yeah, they never explained what that meant.
So
Well,
did they
the mom is dead, and then the dad couldn't handle it.
couldn't handle it.
But they didn't explain what that meant.
Right. So there's this big custody war going on because the aunt wants to take in the little sister. Where's the dad? Is he mentally unwell? Is he dead? Could you be a little more clear? Also, the reality of the situation is you, as the viewer, understand the family dynamic early on. You say, that's Mike, that's his little sister. Mike lost a little brother. Let's think for a second, okay? Let's make some logical jumps here. This family had kids. They lost a child. And in like the 90s, 10 years after they lost their youngest, they were like, let's have a kid again. Even though they
After
lost
what happened, yeah.
and the mom died and the dad couldn't handle it. But they could handle it enough 10 years later to have another kid. And then that's when everything happened. That doesn't make sense to me. And also, the viewer would say that too. The viewer who's watching would say, that's kind of weird. That doesn't make sense to me. And the movie accounts for this, but like 50 minutes into the runtime is when Mike tells his little sister, oh, by the way, remember you had a little brother?
Yeah. Also, the little brother made me deeply uncomfortable.
I'm trying to look at the attachment you sent me, but I can't find it.
Is it just a link?
Oh, yeah, here it is. I just feel like that was
child
part of the
actors were
movie
rough.
where the writing really flopped. There was another part where you've got Vanessa, the cop, female character, which, like, I'm sorry, she's a great cop. Here's what Vanessa does. Let me explain. She shows up to Freddy Fazbear's. First of all, how did she become a cop? Okay. I don't think she well, actually, I guess maybe she passed police academy fairly easily. But so she becomes a cop. She shows up to Freddy Fazbear. She's like, oh, yeah, I've been doing this all the time. Aren't these robots weird? And it's like, you realize that she's in on it. And then she's like, Mike, let me help you. Let's build a fort. And then it's like, oh, we're cool with the animatronics, even though they have killed people, which, granted, Mike didn't know at that point. And then she's like, Mike, if you ever bring your little sister back to Freddy Fazbear's, I'm going to shoot you. It's like, what? What? What are you talking? Why is she so aggro all of a sudden? It's like, I understand that
I'm going to shoot you.
She's in on it. She understands. She doesn't want Mike to bring the little sister whose name I can't remember. She doesn't want him to bring her because she doesn't want her to become an animatronic. So she's just feeling defensive. But it's like, but you let all that stuff happen with the fort. We're like, oh, we're building forts. Like, it just didn't make sense. It just didn't make sense.
No.
So I didn't like that either.
And
then here's another part. Here's probably the most egregious, and this is like a big end of the movie spoiler. So after this, I'm done. I've said my piece, and I'll give my rating out of 10. At the end of the movie, Shadow Freddy or Dark Freddy or whoever that Freddy is. The messed up Freddy.
The Golden Freddy?
Was that what it was? I don't know.
I think Golden Freddy
unclear.
is like the one with the shredders in the inside. I'm looking it up. Because he's
whoever that was.
I think he's the messed up Freddy.
He shows up to Mike's house when Mike's not there.
Mm-hmm. Golden Freddy.
And Mike's little sister's there with the aunt that they're in the custody battle with. They call up Mike, the little sister. I don't even remember like the sequence of events. But it cuts to the aunt, who is probably dead on the ground.
Yeah.
And they all go to Freddy Fazbear's. And Mike, somehow, through all of this, at the very end, he regains custody of his little sister. What happened to the aunt? Because if I'm in a custody battle with a woman and she shows up dead in my house, how does that make me win the custody battle? And even if she's not dead, she got knocked out. Imagine she wakes up. Mike and the little girl are gone. She's going to go, oh, I guess I'll give up the custody battle. It's just, it doesn't make sense. There was no resolution to the custody battle storyline. None. Unless the aunt is dead. In which case, there's a dead woman, a dead family member in your house, and you just ignored it. and then you what? Hid the body? Like, did Vanessa do that? Did she hide the body? Oh wait. It just doesn't make sense. It's illogical. And there's so many things that I had to like power through with this movie where I was like, maybe it'll just like make sense in like a fun, stupid way, and it never did. So, to put a pin in it, I would give this movie a 4 out of 10. But I think for big fans of Five Nights at Freddy's, you will probably really enjoy this movie because there's all sorts of weird like little in jokes, and you get to see the animatronics. And
what was your rating?
I give it a 4 out of 10.
Okay, 4 out of 10.
I will not be watching this movie again. I'm glad I didn't pay money for it. I watched it on Peacock, so.
My thoughts are going to be a lot more segmented and random than yours. Because yours like followed a progression. Mine is just like... So, okay, here's what I'm going to say. I give it the same rating. So keep that in mind as I say my very different thoughts. I'm curious to watch Five Nights at Freddy's 2. I'm still going to watch the sequel. It might be actually. It's Bloomhouse. It might be next year.
It probably will be.
They pump these things out,
and it probably
fast.
won't be on Peacock. It'll probably be in theaters only.
Yeah, I might wait to watch it, but I feel like some of you brought up the Golden Freddy, which like Golden Freddy used to look like real different, but now he like kind of look like at one point I didn't even realize it was Golden Freddy that was the one going to get the sister character. And then I put together what was going on, and I'm still confused because they never explained who like the little blonde boy is who might be Golden Freddy. But like Golden Freddy is the actual antagonist because he like is like he's the evil spirit behind everything, I guess.
But they don't
tell you that. The movie does not.
Movie.
I know that because I have been on the internet.
You in the movie believe that the core antagonist, the main villain in this movie, is William Afton.
Which is, to be somewhat fair, what the first game kind of want you to feel, right? I feel like the theories didn't really kick off. Right? I feel like theories didn't really kick off till the second game because then they had that like Atari 2600 style stuff.
The purple guy,
which is William Afton. But like the first game was just like scary things. Ooh. But this one is like, this movie is just like, okay, it's just a guy. I mean, granted, there's a lot of like ghost stuff going on. Obviously, I know Five Nights at Freddy's is supernatural. I don't think the animatronics, like, of course it's supernatural, but like a movie, it has no link to reality, especially by the end. There is zero link to any sort of reality. Like the animatronics are just straight up ghosts. And it was also a little bit confusing because they were like nice. And I like was confused like when they stopped being nice and when they decided to be nice. And it's like, oh, well, he tells them. And I'm like, well, why would he ever let them be nice then?
Yeah, and it's like...
They like kill those intruders, but then they're like fine with everybody else.
Right. Like what's fine about Mike?
Yeah.
Mike's an intruder. Just because he doesn't do anything.
Right.
Doesn't mean he's a good guy and they trust him.
I'm going to toss out some compliments. When the animatronic... Okay, I like the costumes of the animatronics.
I agree.
I didn't love when they were walking, because then I was like, that's a person in there. Like, when they're standing there and they like do a couple little moves, I'm like, that's fine. They look kind of spooky, I guess. When they're like standing around not doing much, I like them. When they were walking, especially like the scene with Chica and the little girl.
Yeah.
I was like, that's just a person in there. Like, that does not look like an animatronic anymore. Because, like, they even did, like, a head turn thing, and, like, you know, it's supposed to be, like, but, like, it was not, like, a robot. Like, it was very, like, smooth and normal, and I was like, no, that's a person in there. Also, like, none of these, like, you wouldn't know any of these characters very well if you didn't have knowledge of the series at all. Like, Foxy and Chica and Bonnie, I wouldn't know those names from the movie.
Yeah. And you wouldn't know, like, why is Foxy separated from the rest of them?
I mean, I don't actually know. I just know Foxy's the fast one. Foxy's the best animatronic because Foxy has, like, a metal neck and arms. So like the way the head move, it is an animatronic way more than the other ones, in my opinion.
There's not a person in there, right? It's just a puppet.
I feel like that one, I couldn't entirely tell, but I think that one might have been all puppet.
I think Freddy and Bonnie and Chica were all people. I think Foxy was a puppet fully.
Foxy was the best looking one because of that. But
I agree.
But I stand by, like, I know they made this for fans first, but like it made almost $100 million in opening weekend. Like, people who don't know Five Nights at Freddy's saw this movie. They wouldn't know these characters. And I guess, that kind of doesn't matter. They're just spooky creatures. But
my husband hasn't played the games.
Did he know who? Well, I mean, I would say I haven't played the games. I just have internet osmosis, He
didn't know anything. He didn't know what was going on.
I'm sure he loved it.
He did not. His thoughts echo mine pretty much.
There's one. I'm sorry, I'm just jumping all over the place. There's one shot. Okay, there's two shots I really liked. There's one where Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica are looking down at the cast, and they put the camera down there, and it's just the funniest image of those three, like, droning over the camera. And I took a picture of it, and I was like, this is my favorite new meme. Freddy's eyes are, like, half closed. It's very funny. But, like, in all seriousness, the shot that revealed Springtrap, right? Springlock or Springtrap? Okay. The
Springlock is what happens
when the springs.
It's what's inside the suit.
Okay.
But Springtrap is what he's called.
When Springtrap walked out, I was like, ooh, that's good. I liked that. And like, he
looked scary. Yeah. He looked actually scary.
I don't think the animatronics are scary usually, but something about it. There was like, that shot did get me where I was like, ooh, a little bit of spook. And it like pretty quickly got canceled out when he like ran and pushed Josh Hutcherson with one hand and sent him across the room. And I'm like, wait, I didn't know the suit made you strong. But like the shot that revealed Springtrap, genuinely, I thought was a little freaky. And maybe that's why I have hope for the sequel. Because I'm like, if they have that energy in the sequel, they could do something interesting. As long as they like cut back on the cast. Like, I know everybody's like, oh, what? You want it to just be like one guy watching screens? And I'm kind of like, yeah. Like, make it an hour and 20 minutes. Make it short. And make it like this weird experimental movie that meshes with the games. Because the whole William Afton thing wasn't interesting. Like, sketchy man offers Josh Hutcherson a job. I wonder who the villain is. 10 minutes in, we're like, huh, who could it be?
Yeah. Well, and he's also like, hope you survive.
Yeah. It's obvious. It's very, very clear. And like the shot of the stuff with the VHS player at the beginning, or the VHS at the beginning, like the training video. It wasn't bad. I was like, it was trippy and kind of weird. And I'm like, if that was the energy that they had in the movie of just like kind of weird and uncomfortable, I think they could have had something. But the only like violent scene in the movie was when those intruders broke in, and it was very much shot like a regular movie. There was like no shots. Like if the shots were of like the security cameras and you see them getting like killed, that might have been kind of freaky to like watch this like weird voyeuristic murder happen. But
we couldn't see it anyway because the movie's PG-13.
Except the chomp. I got to give him credit for that. When that girl got chomped in half and her legs fell down, and it was just a silhouette. But I wasn't like expecting that level,
Yeah.
And it wasn't great, but like it was a little more than I expected. But like the one guy gets like stabbed, and the only thing we see is like a bloody handprint on a window, and I'm like, okay, that's not interesting. I think that's a lot of like. There's just very little murder. They never explain what happened to the little brother. He got kidnapped, but he's not one of the machines. Or at least, yeah, he's not one of the machines, because you saw all the ghosts of the kids that were the machines. So did he just get killed for fun, and the rest got killed for a purpose? Unless he's the the little muffin. Because I don't think they established who the muffin was.
I feel like the muffin is an animal.
Maybe.
The way it was like, you know what I mean? Like, that's like Chihuahua behavior.
It could be. Nothing. There was very little that was like explained. The suits being like ghosts of kids is fine, I guess. But there's like such an aversion to showing violence against children in this movie that it doesn't actually like hit at all. Like that should be disturbing. That concept of like kids being locked inside these suits and forever living in them as spirits. Like that should be freaky. But they kind of just glaze over it. And they show the kids in like the dream a lot. And I'm like, okay, they're not children anymore. They're like mangled corpses. Like it almost makes them like less scary if you remind me constantly that they are like cute kids.
Yeah, I think it was actually very predictable too, which is like, of course it's predictable for people who play the games because but you don't really find that out until the second game.
No. And
in the first game, it's just like, oh, these are the animatronics. And there's dead kids. And maybe their spirits are in there. I don't think you find out that their bodies are in there too. But Reed was like, my husband, who watched the movie with me. He was like, oh, so he killed the kids and then he put them inside the animatronics. Sorry, can you tell my cat is pulling on my headphones right now?
She loved the movie. She's mad you're being mean to it.
She is. She actually was watching. Like, she sat up on the coffee table and she was watching for a good while. I think she liked all the colors and stuff.
That's funny.
But I felt that for him to know the twist,
yeah,
as someone who is not familiar with the games,
I mean,
and I don't
they gave it away with the
first being predictable is bad. I just feel like
I just don't get it because it wasn't a horror movie. Like, why it wasn't scary, and it doesn't. Obviously, we're kind of desensitized for horror to effectively scare us is difficult. At least me, and I think you as well. But I wish it tried.
Yeah, I think Josh Hutcherson was playing it as if he was in a horror movie, but everyone else was in like a campy, like B horror movie. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean,
it wasn't...
I've seen that. I don't know. I don't think any performance was good. And okay, maybe Matthew Lillard was pretty good. Like he was committed to the role fully. Which like I kind of wish with that reveal, I kind of wish he did more because like when he's in the suit and like getting spring locked, I was like, that's creepy. Like that's an image. That's an unpleasant image, of this guy getting locked into this suit. Mm-hmm. But it happens and then the movie's over, Yeah. And it was like was it after the credits or was it just right before the credits when they show him in the back room?
It was right before the credits.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because the post credits was not helpful. It was the post credits was a bunch of letters, and it just said "Come find me," and it's like that doesn't say anything.
I think the ending left a lot to be desired.
Yeah.
I would like to know the status of the aunt. Is she dead?
Yeah.
Because wouldn't there be some sort of murder investigation?
No, not when Golden Freddy would. Although, I mean, to be fair, to the movie's logic, those people got violently, bloodily murdered in the restaurant, and there was like no blood anywhere. And then at the end of the movie, they find the one girl, like her head is inside that one like suit. But those animatronics know how to clean up.
Right.
So it's possible he went right back, and now
but
she's
she
just
would still
missing.
be a missing person.
Yes. But also, like, it's funny because, like, she's just, like, laying there and, like, there's no blood. So I'm like, how do these things kill? Because I saw the thing at the beginning of the movie where the security guard got murdered. That was a lot of blades. There'd be a lot of blood. So, like, why is there no blood? Because Golden Freddy, I'm fairly certain, is, like, the grindy one. I don't know. I think I'm asking the wrong questions. I
think we may never get the answers.
No, and I mean it. I will watch the second one, probably in a year when it comes out. Let's make it copy the games and release one every 4 months.
Oh my god.
Do you remember when that was happening? When there was a new Five Nights at Freddy's like 3 times a year for two years?
Yeah. I think obviously this movie drew in a lot of people. I think Five Nights at Freddy's is an overwhelmingly popular property more so than I think maybe you or I realized.
Based on those opening few days, yeah, I was not expecting $100 million.
So I'm sure we will see a second and a third version of these movies. And
I'm just confused how they're going to do it, because like the whole thing of Five Nights at Freddy's is the gameplay loop is the exact same, but then there's little bits of lore, and people love digging into that lore and watching like 20-minute YouTube dissections, and like 1,000 of them, so they end up being hours long. But does that really translate to like a film? If it's anything like this, no, it does not. Evil man is evil is the entire crux of this movie. So, and also, like, is Matthew Lillard going to be in the next one, or will it just be like, because Springtrap is like, it's still in it, right?
Yeah.
I feel like you know more than I do. Springtrap would still be around, but would Matthew Lillard say anything?
I don't know. Maybe he'll show up like the kid ghosts. It's just him and a bunch of kids.
I know. I'm just because like the kids are innocent and they're like, hey, but like Matthew Lillard just being like, I can't get out. This is my life now. I'm a ghost. I don't know. It just feels like these movies are going to try to go for a resolution now, where like the games don't have resolution. The games are just unpleasant horror things. But like, what is like Five Nights at Freddy's 7, the movie, gonna be like, okay, now we're gonna release the kids' souls to heaven?
Yeah.
So, and I just pray that the characters from this movie are not in the next one. Like, Josh Hutcherson sucked. Genuine. Like, I mean, he's a good actor. I'm not going, like, it's probably, like, direction or writing's fault, but, like, when he yelled, I was like, this is bad. Like, his yelling is uncomfortable to watch, because it doesn't feel real, and it's probably the writing's fault, because it's him in the woods for the 5,000th time yelling about his brother Garrett.
I know. Like I said, he was in a different movie than everybody else was.
Yeah.
I don't know what was going on there.
And then the cop was not. I mean, I've seen her in other things, and I've never thought she's the most. She doesn't have the biggest range in the world.
Her character was terrible. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was also horribly written.
Awful.
Well, there was no rationale to anything.
Just there to be there.
And like,
and there for a twist, and that's it. That's all.
So she's all like, "Oh, I'm here all the time."
It's like,
does
don't
she
you
like
have a job?
I mean, no, obviously. I feel like she just got like an old cop car and just uses that to like stage this thing to like, I don't know. She was like suspicious. Like she was way too weird. Involved, but then at the end she's like, "Oh, but I'm not like I don't like my dad." And it's like, what? Then why are you not like, stop him? You're a cop. Shoot him. It was just not. And also I feel like I'm disliking it more now than I did watching it. When I watched it, I was like just checked out and like looking for like memes to laugh at. Mm-hmm. But now thinking about it critically, I'm like, it was a no-go, you know? I wouldn't recommend it. If you have Peacock and you have some friends over and you're maybe eating and drinking and hanging out, it will not hurt you if it's on, you know? But I would not recommend. I watched it alone, and that was the worst way to watch it, because it was just boring. And I was like, I watched 30 minutes, and I was honestly like, it's not terrible. And then Kelly was like, I'm watching it. So I was like, okay, now I have to watch more. And I wish I didn't do that. Like, I wish I watched it in like little segments, because that's maybe would have made it bearable.
Yeah.
Also, Matthew was in it, and it was. Ugh. I don't mind a cameo, but like
his was too long.
His was long, and then he was like, "Well, that's just a theory," and I'm like, "You didn't need to say that. We all know who you are, and anybody who doesn't won't know what you're saying." Like he should have just been like, "Hey, what can I get you?" And they'll be like, "Water," and he'll be like, "Okay," and then you see him, and anybody who knows is like, "Oh," and everybody who doesn't is just like, "That's just a server that they hired." So I'm glad Cookie enjoyed the film, though.
Cookie was a big fan. She's being very rowdy right now because it's almost dinner time.
Ven slept
She's
through the whole
tearing
movie.
up my cords and such.
Ven slept through literally the entire thing, so that's my cat review.
Cookie liked it, but Cookie has bad taste. So.
Cookie, my cat also doesn't perceive television. Cookie perceives TV, right?
I mean, she was definitely looking.
Yeah, Ven does not look at the television, which is a shame because I really want to game with him, but he doesn't like gaming.
Wow, he's not a gamer.
No, the only time he games is if I play like that little fish YouTube video, and he'll look at that sometimes, but like only like 30% of the time will he respond.
Yeah.
And usually he swats it once and then realizes it's the screen, and then he's like, "Wait, this is bullcrap," and then stops. So he's a little too smart for me.
Yeah.
But God.
Well,
happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween. Sorry we Five Nights at Freddy's was not the movie for us.
Why didn't it have that song?
I know.
That would have been like cute.
Even like the meme song it didn't have, like the da 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 da. You know that song? I thought they would play that during the credits, but they played a different song.
They played like a weird alt rock song during the credits.
Yeah. But it was by the same band that did the other song.
Yeah.
So I was like, why didn't you just play the one that they already made for the game that everybody knows?
Beats the crap out of me.
Anyway, we don't have to talk about FNaF anymore.
Don't worry, we'll be talking about it again in 3 months when FNaF 2 comes out.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening this week. We hope you have a spooky and safe Halloween. And we are looking forward to the rest of this year as we swiftly approach Game of the Year.
Do you know what next week is?
No. W? I don't know. You have to tell me.
WarioWare.
Oh, yeah. We'll talk about WarioWare. And I'll probably talk about Alan Wake because I'm going to get that tomorrow. So.
Alan Wake, more like Alan Woke.
Bye.